All right, and with that, we are live here at FNGO. It's time for the lunch break, Friday, September 26th. Hope everyone's doing well. See a couple of you guys on there already, Coleman and Tyler. Hope you guys are doing good. The weekend is in sight. Finally, finally. We're going to talk about that, about the weekend on today's show. Kind of see what you guys are going to be doing and find out what's going on out there. We'll go ahead. We're going to knock out the business aspect of this too, get a couple things out of the way. I want everybody to remember the Lake Notley Fishers of Hope tournament tomorrow for the Sester family, the Sester benefit, $100 entry fee, food and raffle after the weigh-in going out the Devers ramp. The family had a fire. They lost everything, and they got two young kids, so they're trying to help them out for sure. Any information that you might want to know about the tournament, 706-851-5164. So if you're up in the Blairsville area tomorrow and you got a chance to go fish with the guys out there. It's for a good cause. Fishers of Hope, absolutely fantastic people doing what they do. And then, of course, listen, guys are already calling me. We're already getting signups for the Toys for Tots tournament, December 6th. Big Shanty Bass Masters along with FNGO. Hey, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic tournament. Going out of Laurel Park. Look at that, Laurel Park. Make sure I say that right. $80 to sign up. $60 goes to the pot. $20 to big fish. A toy per angler is required. So we're going to blast you off in the order of which you have signed up. And again, I have guys already calling me, already paid their money, already signing up. So if you want an early spot, hey, you definitely need to go ahead and get in line, get your money, get signed up, and let's do it right now. Of course, yes, you can sign up the morning of. So there we go. It is Friday. I'm ready to get this conversation going with you guys. Let's look up in the comment section. What's up, Tony? Ditch Pickle Daddy. It is lunchtime for sure on TikTok over there. Let's see. DP's here. Fishing with Raging Cajun Ron McQueen this weekend on tuna. So you guys listen. If you're on tuna, watch out because there's going to be a couple old guys in a bass boat out there. Their reflexes might not be what they used to be. So I want you guys to be careful, okay? No, I'm just kidding with you, Danny. Kirk, watching the National Professional Fishing League, but wanted to pop on and say, hey, hope you got those burritos. Actually, no. What funny thing, I remembered the second we got off yesterday, I actually locked the door, was getting ready to leave, and I remembered that my wife made homemade chicken pot pie the night before, and I brought a big old bowl of it, and I'm like, you know what? I have to weigh the consequences. And so I went ahead and ate it. I'll get those chili cheese burritos today at some point. Danny, if you're hunting Wilkes County this weekend, traffic is already picking up around Athens. Beware. Nope. I will be hunting there next weekend. This weekend, I'm going to hunt around here. Ditch Pickle Daddy, hey, thank you for what you do, buddy. Thank you for being here. It's a Phoenix. Also, too, yeah, Phoenix Boats first flight contingency as well. I need to read a little bit more. I saw you sent that, Danny, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to go over it yet, so I will start announcing that as well. Fred Ashcraft's taking an afternoon boat ride with the wife. You want to go on a boat ride? What time does everybody let's see, I'm trying to read this, Mike. How'd you type that? What time does everybody, let's have a good Friday? Listen, sounds like already, Mike, you're having a good one. Okay, you fixed it down there. What's happening, everybody? Let's have a wonderful Friday and a good weekend and a safe weekend. I'm glad you corrected that, my man, because I was sitting there thinking, whoo, Mike's already starting the weekend early for sure. But, yeah, man, listen, I'll get those chili cheese burritos for sure. And everybody, Danny says give them a wide berth if you're on Allatoona. Okay? I trust Danny. I don't know about that Ron McQueen fella. He's a little sketch. But Doug Rice is on there. For those that watched last night, bless Kevin Thornton's heart. He got up to go fishing this morning, like we were talking about last night. First time since April. He goes out in the garage, and he's got a flat tire on his trailer. Bless the old man's heart. Can't win for losing right there, but he's going to go out Monday. So, guys, y'all don't understand what that old man means to me. He is so much more than just, and all the guys mean a lot to me. All the guys mean a lot to me on the podcast, just like you guys. But there's just something about having that old fella sitting right here to my right when he's here, and he don't say much. He does his question. He'll he'll answer something, say something occasionally, but he watches your comments and all that. But he is just an absolute calming influence. Calming influence on me personally. Great family, great wife, all that. But Kevin just started coming up here a couple years ago. He just showed up. Then he stayed for a podcast, and then we threw him on there. And I'm telling you, it's just like when he's not here, it's different. You guys know what I'm saying. You all got somebody like that in your life that just them being around you, being in the room, is absolutely very, very settling. So, okay, so I see that Hefner's going to Hickory Log. Hopefully the rain stays away. Now, Jeremy Conkright. Okay, because I knew about the situation, but I did not know that the details. And so Jeremy from Kentucky, you guys listen. Boys, we lost a kayaker from Campbellsville University here in Kentucky. It was at Toledo Bend. They found his kayak yesterday, and they found him today. And that I heard yesterday, I saw Slick say it was a college angler. And I hate to hear that. I hate that not only for the individual himself, I hate that for his family, for the community, for the sport. That is very tragic. So you guys kind of, take that this weekend. If you're on the water now, are you going to be out there this weekend, or if you're hunting like I'm going to be this weekend? Let's be careful, because I want to always make sure that when we come back, you guys are in the comment and you're safe. And absolutely, that's just tragic, man. Sorry about that, Jeremy, for all you guys up there in Kentucky. I hate that. Father Time is my favorite co-host, Old Dirty Cracker. Listen, he's funny. USA Kayak Fishing Magazine. Wear your PFD, please. And Alex mentions that in the YouTube comments as well. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. And, one of the things, and I didn't plan on talking about this because it is a free-for-all Friday. Whatever you guys want to talk about, it's where we're going. Friday is the only day that I sit down and I don't have anything thought out. I don't have anything thought out. We're just going to go wherever it leads us, which is, kind of like every day. Normally I have something we're going to talk about. But, lots of guys are talking about getting high school kayaking going here and all that. And that's just one of the things. It's still, even in a kayak, it still can be a dangerous sport. And there's a lot of, liabilities and things like that. So that's one of the things that kind of hinders people from doing a high school version of kayak fishing. So in college as well, man. And Jeremy says, I'm just glad they found him. For sure. I know we always say, hey, it brings closure and all that. There's never going to be closure, if you know what I'm saying. There's always going to be a hole for them. What's up, Kendra? Over there on TikTok. How you doing today, hon? But yeah, thoughts and prayers for sure. Mr. Kevin is like the grandfather of the group. That he is. That he is. But he feeds us. Dan, what's up? Fisherman, how are you, buddy? Kevin feeds us too. And you know what? Like, I think if I told him don't bring that food on Thursday nights, quit feeding us, I think it hurt his feelings. Because I think he just likes coming in, and he is the type of person that likes to take care of his friends and takes care of us. And so that is just, I think he really looks forward to it. I think he really looks forward to hanging out with you guys, because you're all, yeah, he feeds us really good, doesn't he, Alex? You guys are all part of his extended family. We talked about that at the end of the show last night. Because you know what I said right there for the end, I said, hey, I love my family. And Kevin corrected me. He goes, our family. And you're right, Kevin. Absolutely, 100%. So hopefully he gets to get out on the water on Monday for sure. Now, so Kendra's doing great today. There you go. That's good. It's very sad, but one bad decision changed this entire family life. You will never make a good enough argument to me for not wearing your life vest, your PFD. I understand that for sure. Doc said he heard a sheriff say he had never recovered a body with a PFD on it. Think about that for a second. The sheriff said he had never recovered a body that had a PFD on it. So it's very important. And on a kayak, listen, when I got out on that kayak with Alex and them, a couple months ago, I'm used to being in a boat. And this has nothing to do with this young fella at all. But I was used to being in a boat, and it's different. And while they are making them very stable, it is still different. And if you're not an experienced kayaker, well, everybody swear it no matter what, no matter how experienced you are. But especially if you're not experienced and you're not used to being on something, that platform. And I never did stand up. I wouldn't stand up. A little too fat to be standing up in one right now. But I can definitely understand where Alex is coming from. NC Bass Puller, the best thing I ever bought was one of those inflatable life vests. I forget I have it even on. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody said, I forget who it was. Somebody was telling me the other day that they were in that rain during the Sheffield tournament. And their inflatable actually went off. Because, a lot of guys will wear it. It's the rule in most of them that you got to wear it while the boat is moving. But a lot of guys do take them off. And I don't know if this was an extra one. Whoever was telling me, it might have even been Tim. But theirs actually got so wet in that torrential downpour that theirs went off. Now, Kendra says, I don't trust those, the inflatable kind. I've seen them not go off for sure. Alex brought me one. I have it up here. I need to take it home. It's great to have friends because the one I had didn't fit my chubby butt. But this one does. And so I definitely will have it on for sure if I ever get out in that kayak again. I might still be sore from that. Atlanta Outdoors. I went to his page and saw he never had a PFD on in the post I saw across a couple of years of content. Wow. So, and it is true. Now, listen. Now, Jeremy does say this. There is zero details as if he had it on or not. So, we might be jumping to conclusions here. So, I definitely don't know. But I do think we all can agree that it is vital, especially when that big bass boat is running. If you're fishing alone, if you're on a kayak, it's definitely vital that we wear them. Even if it doesn't look cool. Even if it doesn't look cool, even if it's a little uncomfortable, you need to wear one. For sure. We don't want to see this. I know Slick loves to make videos. Talk to him about it. When he does videos like that, those are the worst ones for sure. He hates making those videos, and I hate seeing them. Wear your life jackets and your kill switch attached if you're in a big bass boat. Kendra said, absolutely, absolutely. Now, auto inflators fail though. I'd rather have a comfortable, well-made paddle vest for sure. I take mine off when the boat quits moving because they're so uncomfortable. Need to invest in a low-profile model. Yeah, and listen, I'm guilty of that too, Jeremiah. On a boat, now if I'm alone, never. I won't take it off. But if I am with somebody and fishing a tournament, I do that. I really, honestly, I have to say I'm guilty of it. Unless I was like with Kevin, because Kevin had a inflatable, and I do remember pretty much keeping it on most of the day. But, Kendra, you might be right. Sometimes they can fail. Anything that we make can fail at some point in time for sure. I think, who was it? Farmer. I didn't have one, and I got in the boat with him, and I said, Farmer, I didn't bring a life jacket. And he goes, I got one. And he pulled out one of them old, the orange ones, but except his was a bright yellow that just went around your neck, one of them old school ones. But I had it on when that boat was moving for sure. Alex says the PFD was on the kayak when they recovered it. And when they recovered him today, he did not have it. So still, that's terrible. Thad is down there fishing. Thad Moody was down there and was looking to help, was helping look for him. Better safe than sorry, Thomas Alexander said. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, wasn't there, don't know the entire situation with this young man, but I just think it's something we all need to consider. Now, I saw a comment up here. Let me scroll up. Harrington said, I had a friend that lost her stepson fishing from the bank, slipped on a rock and drowned in inches of water just out of sight from his dad. That is awful. But, think about this. And not because Father Time is old. I hope he's listening. He's gonna get on to me. But occasionally you hear the story, and sometimes it's a young person, but oftentimes it's one of the older, more seasoned people that we know slipping and falling in the shower or getting in the bathtub. You can drown in it. Listen, if your nose and your mouth can get under the water, you can drown. It definitely is. And so Harrington, I hate to hear that, but I actually, I can understand that too. Especially, you slip and you hit your head and it knocks you out. And at that point, you're just at the mercy of the situation. Purdue says, per Georgia DNR, all vessels must be equipped with wearable personal flotation devices for each person aboard. PFDs must be readily accessible to all occupants and in good and serviceable condition. Yep, for sure. That is the law. There are also Atlanta. Are there big gators in Toledo Bend? I have no idea. Atlanta Outdoors. I have no clue. Never fished it. Yes, Fred Ashcraft. I'm almost done catching up on making jigs. I've got one gentleman that I've got 70 jigs I got to tie. I don't know if Aaron's going to show up, but I got Aaron's done. He's been giving me a hard time. Oh, Aaron from Tennessee. So if he's watching, hey, I caught up on his, and now I got that one big order, and then there's some other orders coming, smaller ones, but I got this one big order I got to knock out. Also, one type 4 throwable device must be on board. Models are available for all ages and boating activities. You know what? Now that you say that, I will have to check my electric rig because I don't know that I have the throwable one, Danny, to be honest with you. Got to check that. Gregory on TikTok wants to know, how is the Garmin Ultra 216? I don't have one. So one of you guys in the comment section, any of you guys got the Garmin Ultra 2, the 16-inch? I guess that's what the 16 is for. So if you've got that, Gregory wants to know how it is. And Danny just wanted to put that out as a refresher. We need that reminder every once in a while. PFDs must be worn by each person aboard when operating a vessel is what he said. I said vehicle in an area marked as hazardous area as well. How many of you guys actually have ever read the entire rule book, whether it be your hunting regs, your fishing regs, boating regs? How many of you guys have actually read it cover to cover and read it 2, 3, 4, 5 times to make sure you know? And I am preaching to the choir right here. I don't need to start doing that for sure. You'll see it all the time. Somebody, especially if it's a public, I see it more on the hunting thing, on hunting pages. That's like for a wildlife management area or something. And somebody will ask a question. Now, you always have that jackwagon that says, hey, Google it or read it in the rules. It's in there, but most people are nice and say, hey, yeah, no, it's in the rules. It's in the regulations, page whatever. But I find myself like, you know what? I didn't know that was a rule because I'm guilty and I didn't read it. So we all need to be a little more knowledgeable about the rules and regulations, whether it be anything outdoors, hunting, fishing, operating a boat. Hell, I guarantee half the people don't know all the rules of the road. You can tell driving a car. For sure. Fred says, I run the quick deploy life jackets. I always have one on when the motor is running. That's the law, for sure. Let's see. Let's go on down. Atlanta Outdoors. All kayakers need to keep a dry bag of fresh clothes in the winter. If you flip, excuse me, if you flip in the winter, a change or warm clothes is as important as a PFD. John Aldridge said there's a rule. And it's not a rule like a law, but there's something to guide you by as far as being able to catch hypothermia. And he mentions it often in the wintertime. It's like if the difference between the outside temperature and the water is less than something, your chances of catching hypothermia are way up. And I forget that. I was hoping he might show up. He might could say that. He has mentioned that to me too. But yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons I didn't get into that kayak all through the winter because not being on one, I did not want to accidentally flip it in cold water. That's not the time to learn something. Now, Tim Hancock says, I've toyed with the idea of using a retractable dog tether to tie my front seat and /self on a cold, windy day. If you fall in, even with a PFD, the boat could get blown away from you. Hypothermia could set in before you reach the shore or your boat. And now, hey, listen to hypothermia. Everybody, when we talk hypothermia, most people just associate it with wintertime. But there are instances where your body can go into a form of hypothermia in the middle of summer. 98-degree day, big, huge thunderstorm comes rolling in. You get soaking wet. Temp drops down to real quick. Temp drop down to low 70s, even in the 60s. One of those storms and the wind's blowing. If you guys have ever experienced that, you know how cold it can get. Because I've experienced that on Latham. I had to ditch a boat one time. And I was freezing and shaking. And it was hell. August? It had to be July or August because it was hot. And I remember I was shivering so bad. Now, I didn't get hypothermia, of course, but just in that instance, I started talking to people about it. So always kind of consider that too. Danny, do we know where Pontoon Jody fishes? I have a catfish question for her here. Tennessee. And I think it's pretty close. I think she's on Nickajack. I think she fishes the Chattanooga area of the Tennessee River. I'm not 100% sure. I do know it's Tennessee. Danny, do the jigs come with wire bait keepers? No, I don't do the wire. Jeremiah. The two molds I got, they're more of a push on and hold. Now, Aquaholic says, I'm out fishing with a bald eagle right now in Toto. Ain't that pretty cool? James Barron 260 says, Ben Milligan. Maybe you're saying he's got a video about that or talks about that or something like that. Let me know what you're talking about there, James. Those bald eagles are cool, especially when you see them. We had a tournament over on Latham one time, and there was a dead fish during the weigh in, and it had floated out, and that bald eagle came, and I believe Tim Wyatt's got video of it. I believe it's Tim. And he comes down, he swoops it and takes it right off the top of the water. Very cool. I got 11 fish. Wonder how many that eagle has. I'll put it this way. I bet that eagle is he's probably a lot more high percentage than you are. He probably has a good catch rate. I would guess. He knows what he's doing. Not that you don't. He's posting photos on TikTok right now, Aquaholic, so you guys can check that out there. Jeremy says there was an older guy that was cleaning his bank line by a lake, slipped and fell, got knocked out on the water's edge. Only thing in the water was his head, and he drowned while being knocked out. That's exactly what I was talking about for sure. And that was on a local lake earlier this year. And man, those are just those are just the kind that, like, all death makes you sad and will affect you. But those are just those instances like that. You just kind of like, and I don't really believe in luck, so to speak. But there's sometimes you just go, man, that's unlucky. Because he didn't do anything wrong. It's an accident. Jeremiah says, I don't read them. I only get them to see any new regulations on fish species and new records, for sure. And I'm probably guilty of that as well. DP says, as to hypothermia comment, the water is cooling down and probably time to start putting together your hypothermia kit. Alex Purr says the 120 rule. That's right. That's what it is. If the outdoor temperature and the water temperature do not exceed 120, if it does not exceed 120, then your chances of getting hypothermia are greatly increased. Alex, did I say that correctly? I believe that's what what John said, for sure. Wetsuit is the best in the winter if you can afford it. It will save your life better than anything. Yeah, I ain't got a wetsuit, man. Ben Milligan fell off a dock and almost drowned from hypothermia and was saved by a guy, James Barron said. Appreciate you, that comment, letting us know that. I did not know that. I like Ben Milligan. I don't follow him. I have nothing negative to say about him, but I don't know all of his stories, so I did not know that. So I appreciate you telling me that. See, look, just fell off a dock. Crazy how fast it can happen, too. 50 degrees more than 5. If it's 50 degrees, you got about 5 minutes. Is that what you're saying, Fred Ashcraft? Saw a pontoon pulling a skier under a bridge on Wadawi. He got a quick refresher on the law. Okay, no wait, probably for sure right there. James says it's on video. Okay, I'm gonna go check that out after the show. All boaters, Tony said. And listen, Tony and Tim too. Um, Law enforcement background, military background, probably know a lot of the little nuances of you know keeping dry, things you need to do, kind of those kind of things. He says all boaters need that change of clothes. 50-degree water with the run back to the ramp is bad. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. Totally get it. Now, Tim Hancock has another one, 50-50-50 rule. If the water is 50 or below, you have a 50% chance of surviving for 50 minutes. Interesting. 50-50 rule for cold water angling or kayaking or whatever. If the water is below 50 or below, you have a 50% chance of surviving for 50 minutes. And I would venture to say this too, Tim. I would guess to say that is for somebody in peak condition. You get what I'm saying? Somebody that's in a little bit better shape, or maybe. Because I would imagine there's some people that it might go quicker than that. Justin H, is this on Apple Podcast? I have some of the lunch break from on our Spotify and Apple. I have not added the last 2 weeks because the Libsyn thing that we were doing, I was eating up our storage capacity. But I am going to start putting them back on because I've increased that. So all of these lunch breaks and all of our Live Well podcasts will be going back to Spotify and iTunes starting this weekend. I will be starting to load them back up this weekend. Aquaholic says, I fell in Appalachia Lake and my jeans turned to ice before I could get back in the cabin. Listen, I can believe that in Appalachia too. Getting up there, a little mountain lake, for sure. 100%. I can believe that. Alex says, let's see. If you add the air temp and the water temp, it should be 120 degrees or it's extremely unsafe out. That's it. That's exactly what he said. What's up, Coker Shellnut? I shouldn't say that. It's not Coker Shellnut. That's not one guy. What's up, Tracy Coker? And Tyler Shellnut is back. So, yeah. Purdue says, I use one of those vacuum bags and put dry clothes, towels, and hand warmers, et cetera, and place in my boat from about October through the end of May usually. Yeah, listen, hey, springtime is cold too. Absolutely, it's cold too. So good advice right there. You guys are throwing out some good advice today. Look into the new FXR inflatable jackets for winter fishing. And FXR has, when we were down at ICAST, they were not this past year because I was with Digital Sportsman. The year before when I was down there with the TV show, FXR, their booth was directly across. That's where I met Trey McKinney, Stephanie Hemphill Pellerington. She was in there. Matt Robertson was in the booth, and they had several other guys. So I had a good time with them being right across, meeting all those guys. But they had a trough, and they have a rain jacket or rain suit that's buoyant. Is that the word I want to use? You float in it. And they had this dummy in it, and the dummy was like the weight. It was honestly like the weight of an average human man. And they filled that up on the first day of ICAST, and that dummy in that rain suit sat there and floated for the entire duration of the show until Friday when everybody was breaking down. I don't know what it cost. I don't know what it cost, but it was pretty impressive. Because, I mean, and a lot of people are like, is that a really heavy dummy? Well, I watched some guys try to lift that dummy out of that water so they could drain that trough. Yeah, it was the actual weight of a person. Jeremiah says, I see eagles all the time on the rivers. Had an osprey dive bomb my Huddleston 8-inch trout and try to fly off with it last weekend. I can believe that. You ever go down to, I was talking to a gentleman earlier today. He's going down to Port St. Joe and to Cape Sandblast this weekend to do a little surf fishing. And we got out there when we were filming the TV show. We did that episode. We're on that pontoon, and we're trying to catch some reds or sea trout, and we're throwing the live shrimp under a cork, bobber, whatever you want to call it. My Lord, those seagulls, they try to dive bomb. I mean, the most aggravating bird in the history of birds, other than the whippoorwill on a long summer night that you want to absolutely get some sleep. 50-50-50 rule, they say it's a myth, but I don't want to test it. I get it. There are a few eagles at Cape San Blas for sure. Aquaholic, weren't you one of the ones that took a picture of that alligator that was down there that one time? I know somebody I know took a picture of an alligator down there at Cape San Blas. They're there. Yeah, it was you. I thought it was you. I thought it was. You never know what you're going to find. Messick says, I'm struggling out here on my lake. Can't even catch them when they come up schooling. It happens. Hey, listen, it happens. You know how it is. You have a great day out there and catch 20-something pounds, and the next day you can go out there, nothing. Chris Aiken says a lot of them, salt and fresh ponds down there around Apalachicola. We was cast netting bait, and it came out after us. Well, you might have looked tasty to it there, Aquaholic. You might have looked a little tasty there. Saw an eagle in 6 Mile last time I was out. Messick, I don't really know, dude. Listen, I don't know. I just know that all of us have those days, right? We all have those days where we've been crushing it, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it just turns off. And no matter what we do, no matter what we throw, can't get a bite, can't buy a bite. But I know you. I've seen your Facebook page. I see those trophies. I think you'll figure it out. Justin Ortiz wants to know, Jeremiah, what rod are you using for a mid swim bait? 0.8 to 2 ounces. And any of you guys can answer that question for Ortiz there. Mid-size swim bait, 0.8 to 2 ounces. What rod are you guys using? Let's see. Wetsuits are good to a certain temp. A dry suit is what you need, but they're super expensive. We had 2 club members back in the day fell in Lanier in January. One had his boat flipped over in high winds. You know what? I actually can believe that on Lanier. For sure. I can believe that. Michael says, I keep a torch in my fishing vest that I can wear 100% of the time in my kayak. If I can get to the bank, I can get warm. Absolutely. I can't imagine falling through the ice fishing. Me neither. Which is what's crazy about, and I realize the lakes up there, up north when they go ice fishing, freeze solid down where they can drive cars and stuff out there on them. But I've also seen the videos where that ice ain't quite as thick as they think it is. And all of a sudden you see the Ford F-150 just kind of sinking into the ice a little bit. I can't imagine it either. What's up, John G? There's an eagle on the Oconee too, always around the same stretch of water. It's young. Its head hasn't turned white yet. We got him up here at Big Canoe, and occasionally you'll see him over at Latham. I've sat on my front porch and watched them fly across on the other side of Latham. Now, Kendra, she's from Michigan. I don't go out until the ATVs are out because I ice fish solo. You're a brave woman. Now, my idea of ice fishing, because we want to record an episode of the Real American Road Trip doing it, but I want to get in one of them shanties, ain't that what they call them, with heat and a beer fridge and a stove on the ice. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it right. I don't know that I'd go out there by myself, but you're diehard, and you're probably used to it. Old Southern boy like me, I'm not. No, it's not me. She goes, I rarely use a shanty, just a sled and a couple of 5-gallon buckets. Well, what the hell you do when the wind's blowing and all that? That's got to be cold. Cletus, squealing tires out of the Yamaha parking lot because I had to come in for half a day. 3 hours to Old Glenny. Hey, listen, have some fun up there, buddy. Be safe too, Clint. She goes, I don't go if it's windy and all that. Okay, so you're a fair weather ice fisherman, huh? I don't blame you. Tim Hancock, let's see. We've got gators around here. They've been seen and verified in Ackworth, the Coosa River in Rome, the Hooch, and down around Fayetteville. Yeah, listen, if all of a sudden we got armadillos, because we didn't have armadillos around here 5-6 years ago. Only thing you saw dead on the road was possums. Now there's armadillos everywhere. So if an armadillo is moving north, I guess it makes sense the gators are moving north. She goes, hell yes, I just go to get me through the dreadful winter. And I imagine that would be tough for you and the anglers up north. I get that because like we can bass fish year round around here. And in fact, some of the best days on the water for a lot of guys around here are on the nastiest, coldest days we get. Snow, because we don't get a lot of it. Wind, Lake Lanier, there's something about that. Spotted bass go crazy. And wintertime's actually the best time to fish around here if you want to catch it like a mega bag. If you follow all the tournaments on Lake Lanier and all that, the biggest bags, December, January, right on up into the spawn. Let's see. Now, to answer your question about the swim bait rods, he goes, I have 3. The Mega Bass Leviathan, whatever the hell that is. It's great for glides, 2 to 6 ounces. The Okuma Guide Select Rods and iRod Genesis are both good for soft baits. Jarrett says, I'm heading out to Allatoona this afternoon. What would be your lure selection? If it's anything like anybody else has been talking about, it'd be topwater. And if that didn't work, throw topwater. And if that didn't work, try topwater. That's just what everybody's been saying. Now, we purposely last night didn't want to talk topwater because the last 3 or 4 episodes we had have been all topwater. But even with last night's episode, we all know dang well if we were going out, we'd all be throwing topwater. We were just trying to switch it up a little bit. What's up, Ed? Let's see. The best swim bait rods are the ones that are stupid hard to get, like the F5 rods, the Alpha Soft Swims, and stuff like those. Has anyone gotten the new power pole trolling motor? Wondering if it's worth the money. What was the one Rob Robleski, who was actually still doing very well, at least the last time I checked in the NPFL day, old Rob was sitting in 5th. I think Brandon Cobb was leading it, and Rob was in 5th. But I know Rob mentioned something about his trolling motor the other day, and it was that very expensive one, but I can't remember if it was the Power Pole one or not. I caught 3 this morning on We Won't Say, then 1 on fluke and the rest on the jerk bait. So, topwater, are you being a gatekeeper aquaholic over there? The Eagles and Ospreys are all over Rocky. I know the Ospreys are for sure. They're a cool bird too. I know we talked about the Eagles, but them Ospreys are pretty cool themselves. Certain type of topwater. Okay. Certain type of topwater he caught them on this morning, but it was topwater. We got you. I'm following you. He goes, oh, I don't want banned. I understand. Okay, I got you. Yeah, you never know what you can type on TikTok. Let's see. My luck, I'd fall asleep and kick over the heater and melt the ice. Nah, man, go for it. Go for it. I am one of these days. That's on the bucket list to do, ice fishing. And we were going to go back the following winter and film an ice fishing episode in Michigan, back up in Michigan, and it didn't get cold enough. The lakes didn't freeze. I think that was like 2 winters ago. Or some of them might have froze a little bit, but not to the point where you won't for ice fishing. We were going to go to Big Glen, back to Glen Arbor and fish out of Big Glen Lake. That was one of the options, and it didn't freeze. But then last year, I think it like froze so solid it froze the fish. It was that cold. Now Clint said, let's see, Tracy Coker. There are 2 groups of bald eagles in Thompson Creek. I've also seen a pair around War Hill. And then Kendra said it was. I haven't been ice fishing much over the last few years. Yeah, it was. We wanted to go, and I was looking forward to it because we have a good time wherever we go, whether it's beyond. I mean, listen, adult beverages, a heater, in a shanty, on some ice with a hole in it, little rod down there. I mean, maybe something good to eat and a football game on, because I know some of them guys got generators and all that out there. I mean, that's living it up. If you ask me, I think that would be a fantastic time. Clint said, I'm going largemouthing tonight, but will minnow their booty tomorrow. I think that's got a dual meaning coming from Clint. You never know with him. Michigan or Wisconsin, Minnesota has a lot of those shanties. So it was Michigan we were going to go back in. Now, Chris Aiken says ice fishing is a bucket list for sure. I think it would be fun. Listen, and I know it's a different type of cold up there. And I know we down here in the South, when that devil's dust falls, we act like we can't, live. Place turns into a madhouse. But I think it would be absolutely awesome to do, especially if you could ever be one of those that you've seen the videos. You got a 6-inch hole in the ground. Somebody's fighting with that little 2-foot rod, that little spin rod. It's just, and all of a sudden it gets up the top, and somebody has to stick their hand down in. They pull up like a 40-inch muskie or something like that. I think that would be fun. I think it would make for good TV. I think we could make it be good for TV. If I caught that fish, I know it would be good for TV. My reaction. Only 3 types of fishing I have zero interest in. Okay, man, I don't know. It is Friday. You can tell I can't talk. Only 3 types of fishing I have zero interest in. It's ice fishing, hand lining, and spear fishing. Jeremiah, I've done the hand lining, and it's actually kind of fun, buddy. It's actually kind of fun. You'll realize how poor your reflexes are hand lining, because you don't get that graphite rod or whatever, carbon, whatever you use to feel the bite. You don't have no leverage whatsoever with a rod. And then to get the line in, you're not reeling it. It's actually pretty fun. And it's very cool to watch somebody that knows what they're doing do it. That's what we did in Puerto Rico. That old fella, I forget his name, but he was good at it. He was really good at it. I mean, until you fished with a Pepsi bottle and 20-pound test, you ain't lived. Come on, Jeremiah, you got to get in there. I flipped my kayak last year when it was 40 degrees outside in the winter. It sucked, swam to the bank, pulled my kayak, and flipped it over, changed clothes, and paddled home. Who was it? There was a I can't remember his name. Somebody in a bass tournament last winter, I think it was, or the winter before, was up on Notley or Chattooga or one of those lakes up in North Georgia. And he got ejected from his boat. And this was in the wintertime. He was safe. He actually it was in a tournament. He actually went home, changed, came back, and continued to fish the tournament because he lived up there. I can't remember that joker's name, but I know that's a true story. An angler from Chattanooga told me this morning there's no muskies in the Tennessee River, but isn't there? I don't know about the Tennessee River. I know north of the Tennessee River there are muskies, like the Collins River, which is, that's north of Chattanooga and all that. I don't know how the Tennessee River flows. I've never looked at the map. I do know the Collins River, which is McMinnville, Tennessee, has muskies. But the Tennessee River itself, I'm not 100% sure. I could believe that there's not, though. And I could believe that there were. Renting those shanties are like renting an Airbnb. Maybe. Got to find that right sponsor. Lake Eufaula in Alabama had a Gators. Okay, Jim, let me read this. Lake Eufaula, Alabama had a Gatorade season in 2010. I think you meant to say Gator season. Georgia's got a Gator season. I put in for a tag, and I actually got enough points, priority points, a few years back to go hunt a gator, and I couldn't get nobody to go with me. So basically wasted that tag. And now my son and myself are trying to get priority points to go. And it's going to take another couple years. Tyler says, me and my buddy Jack flipped a John boat in late November and had borderline hypothermia. Couldn't stop shaking for hours from how cold it was. Yeah, for sure. Hey, now listen, Messick, Tony's throwing this out there. Throw a jerkbait on those schoolers. Throw a jerkbait on those schoolers. Tony's all about that jerkbait. Kendra said, oh, my God, I would love to have gone. I love gator. Yum. Well, Kendra, I'd have took you, but I don't think Mrs. Pruitt would have liked it. But listen, we might can set you up with somebody. But no, I'm saying it would have been fun. And gator is good. Now, you can't eat a big gator. I mean, you can, but you definitely want to eat those smaller ones. Those smaller ones, I think, it's like a catfish. You're right, Kendra. Probably wouldn't have. A mega bass Karachi is awesome for schooling bass. I hope so. Like, I know I mispronounce half the stuff I say. I see gators almost daily on the Oconee River. The little ones, 3 to 5 feet, come right up to my kayak. The bigger ones keep their distance. Yeah, for sure. Justin, look at the Daiwa DX Okuma guide. Select iRod. The Dobbins Bullshad rod will cover a lot of baits. Danny says a 132nd jig head worm thrown over the dam and work your back slowly to the boat. Sorry, had to. It was the move. It was the move. Robert Blesky, this is how far back I am in the comments. Yeah, power pole. That's what he had. And he said he loved it. He said it was worth every penny. Every penny. Now, Tim said, I got stupid lucky and got 2 Shimano Compre rods, 2 to 8 ounce lures for $90 each to my door. That's a hell of a deal. I'll be throwing a rattle trap all day tomorrow, working brush piles. Warm out on it last weekend. And listen, that's what Drew Cook said out here on Lanier. Gets out there in that open water. Throw a rattle trap. We talked about that last night. Danny says, I can't see paying $5K for a replacement motor, perhaps if it was on the new boat. I get that. But, robbing and fishing tournaments, I guess, in their mind, you want the best of the best, and he believes that's the best one out there, and that's what he's going with, and he does love it. John said he caught 3 on a popping frog this morning by himself. Yay. The Eagle's back. Now, if I can catch him a fish, go try it. Tim said, Jeremy, Tim Hancock, I've had 6 different style Compre rods, and they all broke within a year of using them. And Tim says, I've used my old Compre for 20 years, no problems, like the new one's even better. Ain't it funny how some people have an experience with a company and other people have a different experience? You never know. 575 does stink. I'm burning so much extra gas on 575, speeding up and slowing down. This is why I drive in the wee hours of the morning. It starts about the time you get Pickens, too. It gets about Jasper. It gets really bad. Passing the turn for the shop, Danny. You sure you don't want to come? Nah, man. I wish I could. Can't do that. Let's see. I'm trying. I think did I finally? No, I'm so far behind. I'm just going all the way to the end, boys. Going all the way to the end. Jeremiah says there's no muskie in the Tennessee River, but there's definitely walleye, smallmouth, paddlefish, and over 150 other cool fish species. Tennessee River is a big body of water that stretches across a long, let's just say it's long. So, yeah, I can see that. I wouldn't want to go gator hunting. Oh, who wouldn't? I was like, dude, I think you would do it. Who wouldn't want to go gator hunting? I'd do it in a heartbeat. This was right when we first started Fish North Georgia. So I didn't know all you guys. Now, I get one now. You're all invited. Kendra, you could even come down too. You can hang out with some of the other guys like that. That way you can be their date. That way I don't get in trouble. Messick wants to know, guys, what color jerkbait, Tony? It's so cloudy, so he's been throwing a gold one. Kendra said, are you sure your friends aren't girls? No, listen. Not the ones I have now. The guys I know now are pretty good. There are a few, though, that are a little metro, if you know what I mean. But for the most part, no. For the most part, no. I have raised my standards, and I now hang with a better class of people. You included. Everybody. These Japanese words are killing Danny today. Listen. Oh, you met my old friends. Yeah, my old friends. Yeah. Some of them for sure. For sure. Yeah, listen, I ain't Japanese. I don't know how to pronounce half that stuff. Now, Messick, Tony says a Berkeley Stunner, 112 plus 1, MF in Tennessee Shad. Now, Tony, ain't that Tennessee Shad a little goldish as well? Now, listen, we've thought about this, Danny Purdue. We have actually thought about this. Carson's like a little metro. Carson was here last night. We talked about a little metro last night. Carson didn't know what metro meant. I had to explain to him what metro meant. It's an older saying. You're young. But I did know some of those guys. Set up a FNGO members fishing trip. Hey, listen, we all can go get an Airbnb somewhere for a weekend, get a big one, show up, and we can all go fishing. I am not opposed to doing that. We had a great time when we went up to Kendrick says, come to Michigan for smallies. Well, that's a long-ass drive. That is a long drive. Because when we left Chattanooga, I'll tell you what we did. Now, granted, the guy that I drove with, he drove most of the way, and he had a rule that he would only go 5 miles over the speed limit. So that added some time. But I left the shop at 7 o'clock here, drove to Chattanooga. So I got there about 8-ish, 8:30, somewhere, like that. And then we did an all-nighter from Chattanooga to Glen Arbor, Michigan. Had some road work, road traffic, but we got there the next morning about 10:30, 11 o'clock. It was a long drive. Now, had I been driving the whole time, we'd have got there. We'd probably knocked an hour off of it for sure because he didn't like the speed. Let's all just stay at Dave's. I'm sure Dave would enjoy 50 people from Fish, North Georgia showing up at his Gunnersville house, right? But hey, we can ask. That's all we can do is ask, right? We need to have an FNGO subscriber only tournament somewhere. We could do that. I bet an FNGO trip would be a blast. Guys, I'm a good time. We would have a good time. We really would. We got an Airbnb up on, up on Chickamauga that slept. It was big. It had a big yard. And we could throw some tents out there or something, or got a couple Airbnbs. But hey, listen, if you guys want to do that, for sure, we can do that. Now, Kenzie says we could do a paper tournament. The hell's a paper tournament? We probably call it something different down here in the South. But explain to me in your words what a paper tournament is. I'm interested in this now. Tony says that Tennessee Shad has a little gold on the upper sides, fades into an off-white side and bottom, has a dark back with a hue of purple. That's right. I remember what you're talking about now. Tyler, hope it was you have a good thing at the doctor's. Hope it all goes well. Or go with Hanky Panky. The Hanky Panky Berkeley Stunner. Now, Tracy Coker was there because it was nice. It was a good time. I could see us getting about 20 people together and going and getting a couple Airbnbs for the weekend and enjoying the time. I think it would be fun. We need to do that. You guys help. I'll tell you what. Now, listen. I do about 99,000 things here. So if any one of you guys want to find a place, now listen, let's do it after November. Because, I mean, we got deer hunting. Okay. She says it's a catch, picture, measure, release. You give a code the day of the tournament. So down here, we just call that kayak angling. Because them kayakers are all catch and release down there. They don't call it a paper tournament. So I get what you're saying. We could do that. We could set one of those up. I'll get Alex. Alex is good at setting that up. We might can do that. Damn, the name of the colors is getting bad as weed strain names for sure. She goes, yeah, that's from the old days. They called it that paper tournament. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, all the kayakers around here, they call it just catch release. Or we just say, again, kayak angling. I always tease them because they're like, yeah, I caught 85 inches, best 5, and I just look at them every single time. How much did that weigh? Okay, so yeah, Jeremy Conkright. I knew he was gonna get one of these comments. Old boy from Kentucky says, no yacker weight. Do a 5-fish weight in and call it done. VG says Reaction Innovations has the best color names in the game. There's some of them. Now I'll tell you what, another thing too. Fly fishermen. Fly fishermen 100% have some of the most messed up names for a bug out there. Carson says, anyone going to hunt for a freezer queen next weekend? I am. They have an early doe season with guns next weekend. That's something new for the state. Guess a kayak angler missing during the pre-fish at Toledo Bend. Yeah, Dead Rabbit, they found him. We talked about that at the beginning. They did find him. He was a college angler from Kentucky. They did find him. So, and what are you guys going to do this weekend? How many of you guys are actually hitting the water? Reaction Innovations has the most unhinged names for sure. How many of you guys are actually going to fish this weekend or go hunting? Or does your spouse have a honey-do list for you? Are you one of those that can't get out because the boss at home has got a list a mile long that you need to do that you probably are like me, should have done 6 months ago when it was a problem? But I'm going to sneak out. I'm going to try to go. I've got an appointment after the show, and then I'm going to try to sneak to the woods this afternoon and definitely in the morning, come home, watch a little football, and maybe go back in the evening. That's my plan for this afternoon and tomorrow. Clayton is going to Seminole for practice. Oh, Aquaholic says honeydew vacations next week. Kendra says my spouse is myself, and I am making myself get everything ready for the regionals. Independent, I get it, 100%. But you got to do that. If you don't take care of it now, you won't be ready. I get that. Tony's going to West Point Sunday. If anyone has any tips, he's open to it. So, Tony, if I had a tip for you on West Point, I'd throw a jerk bait. I think I'd throw a jerk bait. Probably a Berkeley Stunner +1, 112 +1 MF, maybe Tennessee Shad or Hanky Panky. I think you might catch some fish with that. Messick says, going to go watch my Gamecocks beat Kentucky. Dude, you don't need to be making predictions like that. Not this year. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Jeremiah's got it right here. This is how it is with the I lost your thing. Yeah. So you're saying you wouldn't fly fish with a hot butt caddis or a sex dungeon. Those are actual names of flies, guys. And there's some that get worse. Coleman says, can get on a boat, so I'm going to work on rigging my new hummingbirds and mounts. There you go. Smart man. VG hit some stock rainbow action yesterday. I caught a whopping 0. My wife caught 3. Ain't that the way it works? That's the way it works, man. Now, Purdue, of course, he's one of these obnoxious Georgia Bulldog fans. Go Dogs, sick him. And he's probably going woof, woof, woof. He just can't type woof, woof, woof. Tony, I killed him this weekend last year on the Yellow Jacket Bridge on a DT6. But you have to have wind. Also, road beds are killer right now, and that is for West Point. My wife works 12-hour shifts on weekends. He's got dad duty. Oh, yeah, for sure. Green Shad DT6 specifically for West Point. Too much kid stuff going on this weekend to do anything. Tony said that he's got that, and I knew he would say this. He's got that jerkbait tied on always. Largemouth today, then shoal bass and possibly smallmouth one day this weekend for sure. John says I need some Lake Oconee juice before November 1st. We'll see what we can do for you, buddy. My wife is listening. She said it's what we talk about every day. LOL. I think he's fixing this. Okay. Anyway, regardless, she'll book the Airbnb for us. We can figure that out. I don't know if you're texting and driving, Fred, or whatever, but I didn't quite make out your comment there. Tracy Williams is going fishing Sunday at 2 Mile. I probably should go fishing, but it's deer season. I'm going to go sling an arrow somewhere. And I'm going to try to fill the freezer the next 2 weeks. And then I'll go back to fishing because I've got a electric-only classic on Lanier in October. Still going to try to go to the Ultimate Angler next weekend. We'll see. That's kind of up in the air between that and going deer hunting for the early doe season. I think I heard jerkbait more this week than I have my whole life. That's because Tony is just stuck on jerkbaits for some reason. Tony, what are you having for supper tonight? Jerkbait. Tony, you got any tips for ice fishing? Jerkbait. Now, he likes his jerkbait, and I do like how he works it. I really do, how he digs it, throws it shallow and digs it, because I did try that after Tony was talking about it. It does work. Aquaholic said, I caught 7 today on a jerkbait. And Tracy goes, listen, jerkbait is, listen, it's like Tony has confidence in the jerkbait right now. And remember, we talked that confidence is key in all of it. I might have 3. Can't remember the last time I threw one. I throw the Spros. I've got some Spro jerkbaits that I throw, and I like them. But again, like Tony is getting it down, and he's digging it like we do a rock crawler. He's doing that right now, shallow, digging it down in the dirt. That's why he uses that +1. That's what he said last night. And listen, it works. I learned, this winter, that slow stuff doesn't always work. I started reeling it. It works. Last bit of really bass fishing right now for me, because when I get into the stripers again like last year, they really ain't got to worry about me again until the pre-spawn. Credge used to be my comfy bait. It's either jerk or you're trying to say credge. I'm going to go jerk used to be my comfy bait, and I haven't used it for a year until today. Okay, jerk bait used to be his comfort bait. Let's see. Yeah, I guess after today, you need to pick it up more often. Now, Aquaholic, are you using it today because we talked about it so much last night? I'm just curious to see if we influenced you in any way whatsoever. Same here. And you got it. The area around Glass Bridge Park is also good this time of year. South End will definitely hold more spots. Bigger largemouth are usually north. So Aquaholic, now that makes me feel good. So Aquaholic listened to the show last night. We talked jerk baits a lot last night. He went out, hadn't thrown a jerk bait hardly in a year, or whatever it was he said, and he got a jerk bait out today. He's caught 7 on Lake Lanier. We were a positive influence on Aquaholic. I like that. That's good. And you know what? I'm glad to hear somebody listen to something we said and actually went out and caught fish. It works. If you're not confident with a fluke, find a white suspending jerk bait and it will catch them, Tracy Coker said. I can believe it 100%. All right, so guys, listen. It's Friday, and I'm not going to go but just an hour today because I have an appointment that I have got to get out of here for. And then if that appointment goes quick enough, I'm going to head to the woods. So let me say this to all you guys. Again, we always say this, but especially with the way the show started today, you guys be safe out there no matter what you're doing. If you're on the water, wear your life jackets. Okay? Wear your life jackets. Tracy says, I'm going to be using a chug bug and a crawl jig for sure. Thank you, Kendra. I hope you get a good one and be safe. And listen, all you guys be safe out there, whether you're hunting, whether you're fishing, whether you're cleaning out the gutters, whatever it is. Whatever it is, you guys be safe this weekend because we want to see you Monday. I'll be back Monday at 12. You guys join me then, and then we'll talk about what happened this weekend. You know, a lot of good stuff going on in the outdoors, a lot of good college football games on. We didn't even talk about that today, because I got to get out of here. But anyway, I appreciate all of you, and I want to see you guys here again on Monday. So you guys be good. Have a good weekend. Get rid of my YouTube buddies. YouTube, you guys are out. And over here,